Moving on. So let's say you found something that's pretty complicated to get the background out of. So I have this pickup truck that I like. I'm going to put a pickup truck on the moon. So I'm going to zoom in, and the closer you get, the better off you are. Okay, that's so important because if you go and start trace something out all the way back here, you may not see everything that you need to get rid of because you're so far back. So I like to work close. Now I'm real close here, so how do I navigate this mess? You can actually go in and go to Window, and you can go to Navigator. It's one of my favorites. So you bring this navigator over here, check it out. So there's the pickup truck, and I can actually click here and move around. Pretty neat. So I like to leave my navigator. I'll put that right here for now. And like I said, you can zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, woo. And then you can move this around. Okay, so let's start with here. Okay, maybe just back it out a little bit. Now let's say I just want to move around. If you hold the space bar, see a little hand? You can actually hold your space bar and you can drag little bits at a time, okay, rather than mouse over here. So how can I trace this out? There's a couple different ways. You can try the lasso tool, the hard lasso tool, the quick object select, the quick selection tool, the magic wand. There's a bunch. So you really kind of have to figure out, what is going to work best for you. So let's say we try this tool, the quick select tool. Okay, quick selection tool. But look what happens. Too big, right? It's a bit messy. Whoopsie. Go back. Now, I can make this smaller, obviously. Now, maybe let's see what happens here. It's still not really doing the job. What if I work inside here? See what it's starting to do now? If I go inside, it'll start taking it. Problem is, it's still really not doing the job that I want. So let's jump to another tool. Let's try the eraser. Now make sure, see what happens? I can't work on it. It says could not use the eraser because the target layer is hidden. So I'm click, 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 it won't work. Well, look over here. You gotta make sure you're looking at your layers. See, I have the forward turned on, but I'm actually still on the moon layer that I was on earlier. So go over here and click on forward and you'll see it highlight. So now I could sit here and use my eraser tool and start to cut it all out. See, I could sit here and do this. It's a bit messy, but watch this. If I click here and I hold the shift key and then click, so I'm holding shift and then I click, guess what it did? It made a line that whole distance. And then you can go around here, make that smaller, and you can really use the eraser tool to do that. Now personally, that's gonna take all day. So let's try this lasso tool here. Polygonal lasso tool, or magnetic. Let's try magnetic. So we'll zoom out a bit. We'll click on here with the magnet. See what it does? If you go slow and drag, it will stick to that object. Okay, don't go crazy and slip your hand around. So watch, look, I held spacebar so I could move it. Now let go of spacebar and it'll pick up where you left off. But don't forget, go slow, because it'll stick to things you may not want. Now the thing is, you might see here it's getting a little bent. I can actually go and click and you can help it along. Like say I am clicking because I'm telling it where to go. So it's still working good because there's enough contrast. And these little boxes are just what are called control points. So as I trace this out, it's working great. Not so much here, see? Won't go over it. So I'll go click, 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 and go straight down. Now I can tell you right now, this may not work here. Oh, it's actually working pretty good. Click, and it's kind of like the computer's helping you, and you're doing it yourself. Now it takes a little bit of time, I'm not gonna lie. There's actually something else called the pen tool that is really it's a bit of a challenge to use, but it is the preferred method. Takes a really long time to kind of master, so we'll save that for another day. So, whoopsie, I made a mistake. So I'm gonna go back. Okay, we'll just keep this here for now because you'll see I can go back and fix it later. So just out of the interest of time. So I'm tracing out the truck. We're just going to speed it up now. It's not going to be perfect like I said, but if you take your time, it'll work. Whoopsie. So you go, trace it out, and like I said, you'll see that mistake I just made, I can always go back and I can fix it. But for the interest of getting this video along on time. See what happens? I dragged it and it went off. You're supposed to hold this to go back, but that's okay. We can always fix it. Okay? That's the beauty of Photoshop. You can always go back and fix it. So let's say we're here and we are done. So you always have to start where you finish. So look what happened. You see my selections? So you can see there's a bit of a mess here. But if I go in here and click and hold, go to the polygon or the regular lasso tool, and if you hold shift, watch what happens. You can add to it. I want this part of the tire, so I'm going to add to it. See what it did? But I don't want this, so I can hold option, and trace out what you don't want. So I don't want any of this. See what it did? Shift to add, minus to get rid of. So you'll see, for the most part, this is pretty darn good. Look, I messed up a spot there. I'm going to hold shift and add to it. Shift and or option, get rid of it, and shift to add. Okay, so now that I have this done, I want to, if I hit delete right now, I'll think I'm going to delete the background. Guess what? I just deleted the truck. So you want to do what's called inversing the selection. Pretty much means reverse. So I go select, because it's a selection that you've made, and you go inverse. So see what it did? See the lines around it now? So now you have the background. Now watch, delete. So now I have my pickup truck. So we can move this up and put it on the moon. So, and then I can turn my rainbow back on. So now I have this pickup truck, right? We'll just put it here for now. Okay. So coming up next, I will show you a little bit more how to take the backgrounds out and then just continue on with putting our final composition together for our surreal portrait. Stay tuned.